All right, good afternoon, shipmates. Commander Case Garrison. I'm here to demonstrate one possible future for the Navy's detailing marketplace. This will be a tool that allows sailors a little more flexibility in their career paths, the alternatives to see some different options that they may have had in previous detailing experiences. So we're going to talk about a case here of PS2 GOAT. He is in his detailing window, and he's now entered the Navy's new detailing marketplace. This is the obviously the test version. And the first thing he needs to do is verify that his personal information is correct. So we see here some basic demographic information, Petty Officer GOAT's current command, his rating, qualifications he holds, PQSs, various other aspects that make up his DNA. This is what makes him a unique sailor to all the other PS2s in the Navy. And in this particular case, he has an associate's degree, so it's either some of the other things that differentiate him from some of his shipmates. PS2 agrees with everything he sees, so he's going to go ahead and down to create resume. And creating the resume essentially locks this information in, and the system will be utilizing this information when it tries to display billets that it believes will be a good fit for PS2 GOAT's previous training and previous duty stations. Now he wants to go ahead and search for a job. You see we have it pre-filled in here for PS, but obviously it would just be a matter of entering the rating that you're interested in looking at and searching. Now we see a list of available billets based on his background. So these things are going to be unique to him. Not every sailor would see the same list of billets, even if they were both PSs. In his particular case, he thinks he's interested in trying to stay East Coast, and he's up for shore duty. So he's going to go ahead and do some filtering here. He's going to select East Coast, shore duty, and you see the list gets pretty short. So in this particular case, he doesn't feel like he has enough options to choose from. So he's going to go ahead and deselect those filters. And once he's done this, he's going to activate another option, which will be relatively new. So not a lot of folks have seen will have been able to include billets outside of rate before. This may be the future of how we do conversions in the Navy. So in this case, you see that we have a slider tool, and it is currently set to easy, but if we set this to moderate, we're going to see various other ratings that are a little bit more challenging to convert to. So in the easy column, the green highlighted cells, you'll see some YN jobs, perhaps some other things that are relatively similar to PS. Down in the bottom, you'll see LN2 as moderate. So still admin work, but obviously there's a lot more to being an LN than just what we have as a PS or a YN. And we could even set this slider over to difficult. And in this particular example, we see some DC2 billets that pop up, or an HM2. Certainly because he's a sailor, he might qualify for these based on his ASVAB, but we know that this would require an entirely new A school, and it would be a pretty challenging transition for him. So while that's interesting, PS2 GOAT really wants to stick to either in rate or those that would be an easy conversion, so he's going to select that back. Now he's able to go in and click the green plus sign, which allows him to see some additional information. This is a C school billet that he's looked at, and you see that it shows the required NECs and the location of the billet. In his particular case, he's interested in kind of moving outside of some of these traditional PS jobs, and he's going to look at a couple administrative LPO billets. So this one is a PS billet, and the second one I'm going to select is a YN billet. But you will notice that in both cases, these are first class billets. So again, this is a little bit different, not something that sailors are typically used to, but the notion of being able to select a billet in a different pay grade builds on a pilot program we have going right now, recently advertised via NavAdmin, allowing senior enlisted leadership to advance to vacancy to fill hard to fill billets. So at this point in time, now that he's selected a couple, he's going to compare these billets, and he gets a side-by-side comparison. And this may look a lot like an online shopping experience. That's certainly what we were aiming for with this. You know, we want sailors to have the ability to see things side by side. You'll notice some pretty specific information on these billets, things that you might not necessarily expect to have seen in CMSID in the past. In this particular case, both of these billets require additional training in the form of e-learning. So we have block learning and ready relevant learning that help enable this. It allows us to take a PS and give him some additional blocks of training that would allow him to function as a YN1. And you will also notice in here that there are some incentive pays attached to these. One, it says, is an SDIP. or a leadership incentive pay. So just some notional things in here. And in this particular case, he thinks he wants to add both of these to favorites because he'd like to come back and review these in the future. So once he's selected both of them, and today we'll go ahead and select review favorites. And of course, these are the two that we see. And after spending a little bit more time considering this, he comes back and decides that he wants to really take a leap here and apply for a YN1 billet. So it's just as simple as apply. And of course, as usual, like with most online purchases, we want to give you the opportunity to verify that's what you were after. And so we get a note here, are you sure you want to apply for the billet? And it does give some guidance to review NavAdmin 307.17, which directs the sailor to obligate service for the full length of the tour. A little bit of other information presented here for the sailor before he in fact clicks, yes, I want to apply. Now, the final note that we get just says that an email confirming this application will be sent to the official Navy email address, and the same information is available here, either the hot link, application status, or the application status tab at the top of the page. And again, we see that PS2 Goat has in fact applied for a YN1 billet, which currently is being reviewed by his assigned detailer, Senior Chief Jones. So just again, this is one version of what the future may hold for sailors when they go in to apply for jobs to further their Navy careers. Thank you all and have a great day.